Hi, this is Nick from TBT, www.airrifletuning.com, and welcome to my video today on should I buy a BSA Lightning. When I say BSA Lightning, we can include the BSA Supersport because it's essentially the same gun with a different length barrel on it, the end. Now, this is a thorny subject and one which we shall delve into in some detail. I will include fact with opinion. My opinions may not be the same as yours. That's as it may be, but we will try and keep the facts straight. Now, when we talk about BSA springers, it is inevitable that at some point people will get their knickers in a twist and start talking about Gammo. Gammo did indeed buy out BSA and take over production of their spring rifles. And I don't know if anybody would care to take a guess as to when that was. 1986. I know, right? I didn't think it was that early. I thought it must have been in the 2000s. But no, 1986 is when they bought the rights to the guns, to the logo, the trademark, everything. Now, that's kind of a game changer because the first Supersports and the first Lightnings came out in 87. I know this because I bought one. I bought a standard 2.2 Supersport. I think it was 80 odd quid. I bought it mail order out the magazines as we did then. I had to get my mum to sign the bit on the bottom because she was over 18 and I wasn't, and I sent off, I think it was postal voucher, is that the word? We're basically going to the postal order, that was it. Sent off my postal order, and a week later a brand new air rifle landed with me. Now, I bought that rifle off the back of a review I read in one of the airgun magazines. I can't remember which one, which is probably just as well because then I'd mention which one it had been, but it confidently told me that this gun was weren't they all? This gun was awesome, and the tester had actually taken a telescopic sight off it because the open sights were so good that he was shooting a Coke can across the other side of a valley. He was in a small valley 120 yards away, and he was shooting this Coke can with the open sights, and the can hadn't moved. But when he got over there, he thought he'd missed, but when he got over there he discovered to his shock that this gun was so awesome. Every single shot had hit it and passed clean through without moving the can. So I bought the rifle. Reviews were very different back then. Not that different maybe. As some of you will know, I wrote reviews, or not reviews, I wrote articles for an airgun magazine a few years ago. And I had more than one article returned to me because it somehow shone an unpure light upon a manufacturer. And if there were some manufacturers that if you say that their products can be improved, they will then pull their advertising from the magazine. So we couldn't use those ones in articles, technical articles, where we're trying to show people how they can improve their air rifle. We couldn't use certain brands because that brand would withdraw their advertising if you implied that somehow it could be made better than what they had done. I don't do that anymore. What I tell you is what I think. It may not be what you think, it might not even be right, but I'm free to say it. So, back to the subject in hand. 1987, the Supersport and the Lightning were launched, and they were certainly owned at the time by Gammo. Now, it wasn't a quality item to start with. It just wasn't. The barrel axis pin is a pin, not a bolt. That means that as the jaws wear, you get slop in the barrel. That's one of those things. But you can go back, you can do a remedial on that and actually change it to a bolt, the same as you get in more quality items, so that as friction wears away, you can increase it so it actually will last longer. The trigger's made of plastic, it's not particularly great, but you know what, it did the job. The stock was quite plain, but there you go. So they were all made by Gammo, or certainly they were all made at a time when Gammo owned BSA. Now it gets more complicated. What we're going to do is I'm going to take the stock off this gun. I've already done, oh, my shoulder. I've already undone all the stock bolts, okay, for simplicity of showing you this. But we're going to take, the trigger guard comes out from there, the stock, 2 screws there, 1 screw there, the whole thing comes away. Now this is a gun that I've got today. Friends of ours, her husband's unfortunately been taken into care. He's very old, very infirm, and he'd bought this gun back when they lived in the UK and brought it with him, and it's been given to me to find a new home for. So I took a look at it. It's a Lightning, yeah, okay. But the more I look into it, the more questions it demands of me. So we're going to have a little look in here. Now, no clues with the stock really. It's got a bit of a cheap piece there. It's got a rubber recoil pad there. One thing I did notice, it's got the maxi rail. Now, in the 1987 versions, I believe the maxi rail was only available on the XL version, or was it the deluxe version? It had a fancier stock and it had the maxi rail. This one's got a maxi rail, so it's like, okay. I did get it home. Oh, it looks brand new. Okay, absolutely. It's from the wear around here. It's fired very few shots, which is conducive with the kind of person that I know Mike to be. He would have bought it, used it a few times in the garden, and then it's just stayed in its gun bag for the last X years. We'll get to that. So I thought, right, okay, I'll go outside and I'll just pop a couple of shots through it to see what it's like. So I had a look, 2.2, got plenty of 2.2 pellets, put the pellet in the barrel, it drops straight through. This is a 25. Now, a 25 caliber Lightning. I will tell you that 2006 to 2013 we had a small holding in Cornwall, and I had, at some point during that time, I had an early 25 caliber Lightning in a wooden stock like this one, and it was the best ratter I've ever had. So I've not got any 25 caliber pellets, so I've not actually been able to fire it, but there is a very good chance, rather than rehoming this, I'm simply going to buy it off of her, because if it is as good as the one I had before, I'm definitely keeping this rifle. Now, if we look on here, the history of serial numbers. This is where it's going to get these in my reading glasses. I'm going to point them. I'm of a certain age. I'm 53, you know. I'm allowed to point my glasses at people now, and I do need these to read it. I've got a database here from Emmett and Stone with serial numbers of BSAs, and it makes interesting reading. The earliest 1987 onwards Supersports and Lightnings had a DS prefix. Okay, a DS prefix stamped onto the side of the barrel receiver, I suppose it is, the mounting plate for the barrel anyway. So if yours is a DS, or you find one that's a DS, it's one of the first ones made. If it's one of the first ones made and it's in reasonable condition, reasonable price, my advice would be buy it. It's a good rifle. It's a bit of nostalgia. It's fun. Okay, now this one is serial number AAR, and then we've got 05926. Okay, so but it's an AAR, and checking up AAR on my database, it tells me it's a Supersport rifle, 25 caliber, made after 1997. So after 1997, I started, this is where the rabbit hole started. Can't see with those on, unless I'm reading. That's where the rabbit hole started, because I thought immediately, oh, was that after Gammo had bought them out? That's when I discovered Gammo bought them in 1986, and everything I thought I knew is wrong. So this was made in 1997. That makes this gun very nearly 30 years old. And I believe this will be a similar age to the one that I had back in the 2000s when we had the small holding in Cornwall. Now, another one to look at here is I'm searching for the prefix. There we go. S. The story is that when you check the serial numbers, the ones that start with an S are the ones that are made in the Gammo factory or from Gammo parts. I don't know if this is the case, but I've heard it in lots of places by lots of people, so I have no reason, and I've been checking on the internet, and there's a lot of talk on the internet of that being the case as well. BSA claim to have no knowledge of this and claim to have no details of serial numbers from before 2012. Now, considering that BSA have been owned since by Gammo since 1986, I'm not sure if this is just a bit of avoiding the question. So this one is a late 20th century rifle, BSA, made while BSA were owned by Gammo. But looking at the trigger unit, looking at the safety catch, the way everything's put together and the fit and finish of this, it is very similar to the early Lightnings. So I don't know if the only change has been that it now has the maxi rail on the top. I will be doing more testing with this rifle, and I will be doing some work inside of it to make it shoot as well as I can make it shoot, because a 25 cal is a short 25 cal is something that everybody should have. If you're going out and about round barns, round buildings, it's the ultimate out to 30 yards hunter. Zero it, I think it's, from memory, when I had mine, if I zeroed it at about 17 yards, it was half an inch PBR, point blank range, i.e. half an inch either side of zero, from somewhere from 12 yards out to 28 yards. That's a very useful farmyard range. So farmyard, yeah, range, 12 to 28 yards. Most of your shots are going to come within that. You aim dead on, it's going to be within half inch either side. Dead as a doornail. Hit with a 25, they know it. People talk about 25s as having a trajectory like a rainbow as well. That's just a silly thing to say. It's travelling at 500 feet a second. Yes, it's more pronounced an arc than a 2.2, certainly more than a 1.77. But if you get your PBRs right and your ranges right, it makes a big hole. Big holes matter. So should you buy one? Should you buy one of these? I would say, as long as the serial number doesn't begin with an S, then I would say, if the condition's good, if there's not any movement in that part there, or if there is, you're prepared to work with it, then yeah, go for it. I mean, it's a handy little gun. And sad to say, the modern ones in that synthetic stock, I had one of those through when we were in Cornwall, had one of those through the doors to do up and pass on. It is the best shouldering rifle that was available. I think it shouldered really well. It felt great, the compact size of it and everything. It's just a shame that it was an S prefix one and it had nothing to back that handling up with. But if you can find an honest AAR or DS, or AR for the 2.2, I think from 97. If you go on to Emmett and Stone, you'll find all the serial numbers are listed, or prefixes are listed on there. I would say that, yeah, a used one of these would be a good buy. Certainly better than a new one would be. And a new one, you should just say goodbye. And on that, I am going to say goodbye. Please like and subscribe. We're after subscribers. We're going to be doing giveaways when we get to 10,000. It's a while off yet, but I am starting to mention it now. I will be doing more videos very, very soon. Thank you for watching, and I will speak to you very soon. Still.